Welcome to the Healthy Home Show. I'm Fernanda Furman, Healthy Home Architect.
Hi, I'm Eric Furman, Healthy Home Contractor.
And today we're here with Nicole Carlson. She is here representing Sulighten Saunas. And we're very, very excited to be here with you today, Nicole.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
So we're going to read Nicole's biography, and then we're going to go into the questions. Nicole has an extensive background in the health and wellness industry. Her passion is helping others through education, consulting, and training to both heal, improve, and preserve health and wellness. She specializes in scientific-based yet holistic approaches to healing and life balance. She's committed to offering cutting-edge wellness services that empower clients to reach their health goals quickly. Wow. Thank you so much for all you do, Nicole.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So one of the things that for us, we have been looking into saunas for a while, and Sunlighten actually is it's a company that has stood up for us for many different reasons, for the materials, for the technology, for the history behind and why the owners created the company. Would you mind telling us the story and why the company was created before we get into the details?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sunlighten has been around for, this is our 21st year, and so we're really excited about that. So light therapy may be new to many people who are listening, but it's definitely not new to us. We're very well versed in this area, and essentially we were started because our owners, one of their brothers had mercury poisoning, and this was 25 years ago. So at the time there wasn't a lot of information about it. Doctors didn't understand it, and long story short, they were like, well, go live your best last days, right? So essentially what happened was a family dentist ended up having, around that same time, gone to a conference on infrared. But at that point in time, the only way to really have access to infrared were these little panels that essentially, you kind of had to rotate your body in front of. So he went out, he got a panel, he spent days, weeks, doing the rotation and trying to heal, and lo and behold, it worked. So from there, they decided to, of course, they couldn't see into the future, knowing how sick and tired people would be, and how desperate they would be for something other than just Western medicine. But they knew there had to be other people out there suffering that they wanted to help. So they set about to be able to deliver infrared in a manner that was more conducive, easier, quicker, all of those sorts of things. And thus Sunlighten was born.
So how do these saunas, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to these.
Yeah.
So this is so great. I'm sure a lot of the listeners will have a lot of questions too. That's a big part of this is discovery. So I'm used to a wet type of humid sauna, and then there was a dry sauna, I remember too. So how does this fit into that? Is this obviously a dry sauna, but this is different than even a traditional dry sauna or obviously a wet sauna. What are the differences, and how does it actually heat?
Yeah, you're 100% correct there. So yes, much different experience, and for a couple of reasons. So I'll start by saying those saunas are very, very hot. And so with ours, with the infrared, the way we're able to deliver it, it's a more gentle, more enjoyable heat versus something you're kind of enduring. I also have been in those, traditional, whether it be dry or steam saunas. And personally, I couldn't make it. I was lucky to get in 2 minutes. So it's a much different experience, which I think broadens it to, or opens it up rather to a much more variety of people. But the difference is with those saunas, whether, I'll just lump them into traditional saunas, they're essentially just heating the ambient air around you. With the infrared, we're not just heating up the air, and you guys may have noticed it looks like I'm in a strange space. I'm actually sitting in one of our saunas. I should have said that to begin with. This is one of our impulse lines. This is our Discover, and so that's where I'm sitting now. But with the way it works in our saunas, it actually heats you from it, the wavelengths are delivered into the cell, and then the cell heats up. So with ours specifically, we have a patent on our heaters, and our heaters were based on NASA research. So we were able to figure out the exact wavelengths at which to deliver the infrared into the body. So it goes into the cell, it actually heats the cell up. As the cell heats up, it kind of begins to think of it as like begins to boil. And when the water within the cell gets to that level, it pushes out the toxins. So we also have actually over 56 clinical third-party studies relating back to our products specifically. And one of those is a study done that tells you that you get a 3-degree rise in your core body temperature. And so that's essentially how it works. And what's great about that is it continues. Obviously, your body's going to slowly, go down back to that normal temperature, whatever your normal is, over time. So for me, when I use the sauna, I can tell you, I will still feel warm up to an hour later. Someone else may cool down quickly or quicker. But for me, I definitely feel it even 30, 45 minutes, an hour later, which is amazing because if you think about that, you're continuing to detox during that time. So I always tell people don't shower right away, right? Because your pores, your body is still trying to get those toxins out. So I love that about sunlight and infrared.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So our whole summit has been about the journey of health. And I know this is where people are going to be turning because it's a really important part of the journey of health. And if you were exposed to toxins, is detoxing your body from those. So absolutely saunas, I'm sure it's come up a lot. So can you talk to us about the process of detoxing? It's really interesting too, how your body continually detoxes afterwards.
Yeah. So, again, going back to the traditional versus the infrared, on the traditional, you're heating up because they're heating the ambient air around you. With ours, it's because you're getting that, the cell is heating up. You're going to be able to, the sweat isn't just going to be your typical sweat because you're hot. It's a different type of sweat. It's literally toxins. And with us, it's going to be about a 20% mix of toxins. So about 80% water, 20% toxins, which is much different than when you're going to get in another sauna, which, give or take maybe 1 or 2% toxins. So just a much, much higher concentrated level of toxins that are emerging. And so you will notice when you begin to use our product, the sweat is different. It's a thicker, it's a more viscous sweat than what you're used to. To be really frank with you, it's very smelly. It's a different smell than probably you're used to, and it's going to vary from one user to another, obviously, because the toxins that are in your bodies are different. So
great.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
So one of our clients actually told me that she was using the sauna to help with the nerve pain. And could you talk about all the other benefits besides detoxing? What are the other benefits for, for using the sauna, the infrared?
Yeah, 100%. There's so many benefits. I can't almost speak to all of them in one session. But they run the gamut, and literally anyone from age 1 to 101 can use the sauna. For children, it's 1 minute per year. So as young as 1 year can stay in for 1 minute at a time. But yeah, the benefits are really endless. It helps. It's a good tool for anti-aging. So especially in today's, life, we're loving, trying to live a better, longer life. So it's really great for that. It's good for heart health. We're actually, and ironically, this is Heart Month. February is Heart Month when we're recording this. So we have partnered with the American Heart Association for that. Given the studies, we have one of those studies I mentioned earlier, third-party clinical studies, is how our saunas can help decrease blood pressure. So that's really great. It helps with weight loss. It helps with, of course, detoxifying, pain relief as well. So think of pain relief as whether you are, literally trying to heal from, say, a surgery to recover from some sort of athletic injury. It helps with, we have another study that helps with flexibility that proves that it helps increase flexibility. So we have a lot of fitness professionals that partner with us because of that. Definitely one of the first things that people notice is it helps with relaxation, which I specifically love because I have a really busy lifestyle and I am one of those people that I can't get my brain to shut off at night. So it's really great because it helps relax. It really does kind of force your body into relaxation mode, whether you're, trying to fight it or not. And I would say the number one thing that people notice right away is it helps with sleep. So sleep is linked also to so many different illnesses today. If you can't sleep, it's like this whole slew of other issues that come. So I think that's really great as well. And like I said, anywhere from 1 to 101, there's some benefit that's going to help any user that is in the sauna.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I think most people would realize too, once they go onto your site, so this is obviously a portable system. Some people can't go to a health club or go to a place that there's a spa. So this is something somebody could purchase, can be shipped to their home, and they can install it in their own home, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have what you're referring to as our solo system. It is portable. It collapses. It's 2 domes, and then it has a pad underneath. There's infrared panels in all of those, and you control the heat of each of those domes plus the pad you're laying on. So it's very customizable as far as the heat goes. But yes, those domes collapse inside one another. So think of, when it's collapsed, maybe the size of like a large laundry basket. So most people have room to at least, they may not be able to have it set up all the time, and it can go on the floor. It can go on a massage table and go on a bed and go on a floor. Really, it can go anywhere. So that's a great kind of option for people that don't have a lot of space, and it is portable. You could put it in the trunk of your car and take it with you as well. And then we're going to go on up from there into our cabin units. We have anywhere from 1 to 5 or 6 person cabin units. So depending on, your size, your budget, all of those sorts of things, it's definitely easy for people to be able to do this in their home. And it truly is something that the entire family can use. And they're very easy to assemble. The biggest issue is just you need a couple people because obviously they're heavy. We have a great video that shows the assembly process. We have a patent on our assembly. Everything's tongue and groove, so it fits together really easily. If you do need to move or relocate the sauna to, say, a different space in your home, or you want to put it outside or something like that, also very easy to do. Essentially, if you're looking at a cabin unit, it's going to be the floor, the ceiling, 4 walls, and the door. And there's just simple connections to be made that run through the walls into the floor. We've been in business for so long. We have so many health and wellness partners, and it's because of all the science and research behind our product. We are the manufacturer. We take great pride in that. And a lot of the others out there are not the manufacturer. They are mass produced in other countries, purchased, relabeled, sold as their own, but they don't. I would highly encourage anyone, ask for the studies, ask for the third-party studies, not only third-party, but the ones that relate back to their specific product, because I can assure you that is what we can offer. That is the peace of mind that you will have with us versus whoever else is out there that you're looking at.
And that's great information because there's so many products out there. And not just with sauna, but, with the water filtration system, that's what we saw in our end, how hard it was to find trustful companies that we could buy from, because there's so many people just relabeling and not even know what they're doing. So that was great information. Now, you mentioned that we can, easily assemble, we can move them around. Now, what about where they sit? Do we need to have a special flooring, or can we just put like overwood? Is there something special that needs to be done to the floor? Can it be on the second floor, or it has to be on the first floor?
Yeah, so honestly, sky's the limit. The flooring type doesn't matter. Indoor, outdoor doesn't matter. The only thing, if you're putting it outdoor, is we do want you to get one of our custom covers just to keep, you know, regardless of where you live, and even if it's 70 degrees all year round, it's important just to keep those, to keep it out of the elements. So we do recommend a cover for that in order to keep the warranty in place. There is a 7-year warranty. No, it can go anywhere. The only thing you have to consider is going to be electrical requirements. So some of our saunas are just going to plug in. Well, they're all just going to plug into a regular, you know, wall plug. But once you get into the 3-person and above, you're going to need a dedicated circuit. So it's something simple. You just need an electrician to run that dedicated circuit into your whatever room it is in your house. And so it's pretty simple setup. You're going to set it up, plug it in, and it's ready to go. There's no consideration with, you know, fire extinguishers or, you know, any sort of, or, you know, I say that because I've had people ask me that. So really, truly no consideration other than you just have to make sure if you're getting that 3-person or above that you have that dedicated circuit.
That makes sense. That was one of the questions I had too. So none of them go into like a 220 volt version where you would need like special electrical, like you would need for like a spa or an air conditioner. Is all 110, like a regular appliance?
Oh, like a buck and boost. Yeah. You would have to have, on some of them, you will have to have, it would be 240.
Oh, okay. There's that.
Yeah. So it's also a pretty simple. Yes. Thank you
Sure.
for asking that. Cause
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, people have electric dryers and electric stoves, so got it.
Right.
So one of the highlights of your company that we were reading, and maybe you could touch on this, is the construction materials, the options for low EMF. So you guys kind of stand out. Not only is a sauna beneficial, but then you kind of go above and beyond with some of the ways that you construct it and different options for people really chemically sensitive and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. That is a huge part of our company and what we built Sunlighten on. We take really, really great pride in the fact that the components of our sauna are non-toxic and aren't going to off-gas, because that is something, again, to consider if you're looking around. What are the wood types that are used? You know, what are the glues that are used? Is there, you know, all these sorts of things that, you know, someone may not think of. So as far as that, we only use woods. So we use 3 types of woods. We have a basswood, a eucalyptus, and a cedar. The cedar more so just for those folks that really want that more traditional, you know, cedar scent. And so that's really why. My personal favorite is the eucalyptus. It's kind of that medium color wood. So it's kind of like the cedar, but doesn't have the red tones. It's very, very durable. It's beautiful. And so we have some variety if people are into like aesthetics in their home and that sort of a thing. But it's very well made, well constructed. The walls are very thick. The glass, everything in it. We have a showroom. We're based out of Kansas City, and we have a showroom here where we also have other saunas from, say, competitors, and I could tape those labels up. You would have no idea, you know, what sauna was whose. If I were to ask you, hey, which one looks like it's going to hold up? Every single time you would choose Sunlighten. Most of the others are very flimsy. So if you're thinking about, well, what if I move in the future? I mean, these are in a residential setting, we make these to last 20, 30 years. I mean, these are going to be passed down from generation to generation. You know, and so, and it, you know, because they're an investment. And so there's something that people don't really just toss out, right? Or stop using. So not only from a durability standpoint, but also from the components that are in it, and are they going to off-gas? I know several other companies out there use woods that are on the toxic wood list. Believe it or not, most people, and maybe this is something you guys are probably aware of, but there is a wood toxic list of woods, and many of the ones that are sold use woods that are on the toxic wood list. So I think that answers that question. I think the second piece of it had to do with the EMF levels. So we do have 2 different sauna lines. Our first line is our signature line. It has a little bit more of a basic, I guess you could say, operating system, in that the control panel is like on, off, temperature setting, timer. The EMF level on that, and we do have a study, a third-party study that proves what I'm saying to be truthful. It's less than 1, so very, very, very low. Our second line is going to be our impulse line. It does have a slightly higher EMF reading, somewhere between, 10, 12, 15. That is simply because it runs from a tablet. So that tablet has 7 preset wellness programs that go from anti-aging, cardiovascular, detox is obviously one of them. So it's just the fact that it has the tablet in it. The components, everything else, those are all the same, the materials. It's simply the tablet that increases that EMF level slightly.
Okay.
Which you brought something up that people sometimes don't think things all the way through. They're probably going to bring potentially their phone or their own tablet in there anyways. So
that's exactly right. And most phones and tablets have a much, much higher reading than that. Yeah. So, much higher. As well, it's rated for the heat. So you can definitely, bring your phone in, but just, when I'm on the beach, and my phone gets too hot, it gives you the warning, like getting ready, at least on iPhones, like getting ready to, shut down because it's overheated.
And how, when they're, people are inside of the sauna, usually, like when I think about sauna, I think about a towel, right? Like nothing to wear, but just a towel. Is that the same thing with the infrared? Is there anything that you should be doing, like, I don't know, glasses or any special cream or anything special?
Yeah, no, great question. Nothing special whatsoever. We have these saunas in commercial spaces. So obviously in a commercial space, they are going to be in a towel probably, or a robe or something. I personally just wear like a swimsuit or something like that. You can wear, you could go with nothing. It's completely up to you. But I would say for the most part, if you just, wore like nothing, or if you had like a bikini or something like that you could wear, swim trunks, I think that's best. We do have products that you can use. We have seat cushion covers, we have towels and robes that are made from bamboo. So I would definitely recommend that, because I do know the ingredients that we've put in those, and that nothing in there is going to off gas. So we do have those available if you would like to use those towels. And so you can put those on the bench, to keep from sweating. In between sessions, a lot of people will ask, well, what do I need to do? How do I maintain this? There's not a lot of maintenance. The infrared is obviously going to kill a lot of those germs and things. So we typically just leave ours on, say, 10 or 15 minutes after each session. It just kind of gets rid of that. It's going to dry up the wet spots and everything like that. But I do typically use the towel just to kind of avoid the sweat that's running.
So that was great. Like, I guess we all both have a question.
No, me first.
Yeah.
Ladies first. What would you like?
So with that,
yeah,
how do we choose the best sauna for us? Because I know that you guys have so many different models. How do we choose the one that's the best for us?
Yeah, so definitely when someone calls in, we do our best. We want to help others. And so we're definitely going to ask those questions to get you into the right sauna for whatever your needs are. Really just for detoxing. If that's really the main benefit you want, I think, the signature line is a great way to go. The difference between the two lines, the signature is far infrared only. The impulse line is far plus mid and near. So far is, I guess you could say, kind of the daddy of them all. It's going to do all of the things. It's going to give you all of the benefits. The mid and the near just kind of take it to like the next level. So the mid infrared, so I mentioned the far earlier. The far is what travels into the cell, right, and heats up the cell. The mid travels kind of a mid amount, and the near travels the least amount. So you do have to be kind of close to those panels. They're not going to get so hot that you can't be up against them, which is one thing to consider when you're looking at other models, because they often have some really, really hot heaters that you can't really, you definitely would be a burn risk for sure. But as far as,
right, if your children is going to be there.
Oh, 100%. A lot of them use these little heaters that they add on the front to blast even more heat. So some of the companies definitely use some heaters that they put in the front corners that get very, very, very hot. You would not want your children anywhere near these. No one would, adults, no one would want to be near these. Definitely a burn risk. But that's what's great about ours, is part of our patent kind of takes that immediate heat off so that you can be close and get all the benefits. Mm-hmm. As well, with the Impulse line, like I said, it delivers the mid and the near. So let me get to the benefits of the mid and the near here in a second. But those front heaters that other companies put in their saunas, they will call that full spectrum. Full spectrum meaning it delivers far, mid, and near. Is that truthful? It is technically. However, with the type of heat that they're using with those lamps that they put in the front, you don't know the quantity or the quality of what you're getting, as well as those wavelengths are varying. They're high, then they're low. You don't really know where they are, so you don't know the quantity and the quality of the infrared you're receiving. Also, in order to get the benefits of the near, like I mentioned earlier, you have to be close to those heaters. So if you're sitting in the back, leaning up against, the walls, and those are in the front, that near only travels a few inches. So technically, are they delivering the near infrared? 100%. But are you actually receiving the near? That's where the question then lies. So with the mid and the near, Lynn, let me kind of get to that and what those benefits are. So the mid and the near in the Impulse line that are delivered separately, the mid is really good for muscle recovery, healing, those tissue kind of related things. So athletes love the mid because it's going to help them prevent injury as well as heal from injury, or if you've had a surgery or something like that. The near is kind of what we call the vanity wavelength. So it's going to help with the fine lines, the wrinkles. It is, yeah, right? Who doesn't want to help with that? As well as it's going to help with, like if you had psoriasis, or the Impulse line is going to be the mid, near, and the far.
Gotcha. Okay.
So can I ask one now? Because it's right on that topic. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about that and being in other saunas throughout my life where you could basically be anywhere inside of the room and still have that same temperature or effect potentially. Mm-hmm. So let's say you maybe lay down in the sauna. Would you be maybe missing some of that heat? Or even in yours, do you need to be kind of in a sweet spot, so to speak, in the sauna?
Yeah, so I wish you guys could see, so the near is surrounding me right now. So the near is on, so we deliver it. So kind of to that point earlier where they put it in the front and they blast it out. So technically they can say they deliver all three. We actually have it separated out. So it's delivered separately. So the near has its own set of LED lights. That's what it's converted into. So, it is surrounding you. So no matter, so even if you're laying, you're going to be close enough to be able to receive those benefits. Yeah. Yeah. If you were in a different sauna, that that obviously wouldn't be the case. But yeah, you're literally surrounded by each of the heater panels as near the far, and so where you are, you're kind of close to those panels, which are going to be on the two side walls and the back wall. Then you're going to be able to get that.
Got it. One of the things you talked about, I never thought about it, and it was so important. It's about the towels, about the robes, about the material, the clothing or the fabric that we use when we are inside, and how that can actually affect. Because we have been talking about on this show about the bedding, for example, how they make the sheets and how they make all the curtains and the stuff all the materials that they're using to create those fabrics and how they finish it. So I never even thought about that having it being could be an issue when you're inside of the sauna. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm going to make sure that we highlight that for the listeners too, because
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
sell that, right? You guys sell all the robes and everything, so they can go to your website and buy it from there.
Yes, 100%.
Now, what are the best tips you would give to our audience, closing, here, in order to get their sauna? And I also know, I want to tell everybody that Nicole has an amazing offer, and that's going to be great for all of you that are listening that are interested in getting your own sauna like we are. She has an amazing offer that you can take advantage of, and the link is going to be just down below this video. What would be like the tips that you would like to tell or the audience?
As far as purchasing?
As far as purchasing and, when they're looking for the sauna, like the time frame, like if they're building a new house, like how long do they have to wait until the delivery before they buy? So if I'm planning on buying a sauna, what would be like the steps you would suggest us to do?
Okay, yeah. So, our inventory varies depending on time of year or sales that we may have going on and so forth. So it really varies. Right now I've got about half in stock, half out of stock. So some of those, if they're in stock, typically it's a couple of weeks. We can get that to your door. If it's out of stock, I have some right now that are out of stock by 4 weeks, and some that are 12 weeks. So it's definitely something to consider. Time frame wise, you definitely want to, whoever you speak to on the phone, is first just going to work on finding you the right model based upon what are your needs, what are really your goals with your health, what's most important to you. So that's number one. The number two thing is going to be space, right? Like, do you find a space, figure out what that is, take the measurements, because that's going to be important. These aren't custom made, right? So we're going to have to figure out which size is going to work best. And then, they can kind of let you know, what the time frame would be, because those do definitely fluctuate. But yes, we would be happy to offer money, $200 off to anyone who calls in and mentions the show, and definitely use that link that they'll post below.
Great. So it will be just in time for Mother's Day, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm trying to say anything, but Hey,
it never hurts.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole. I really appreciate your time and all the knowledge that you just gave us about sauna, and that makes, I think, very much easier for us to even move forward towards making that purchase now.
Yes, thank you. Very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. We love the work you're doing, and we're honored that you invited us. So,
Thanks.
Thank you.